I actually want your opinion on this for a couple of reasons. One, you're a stand-up comic, right? And you have mixed heritage too, so you can speak on this. But Jay Leno recently apologized to the Asian community and met with an Asian-American organization addressing jokes that he made about Asians for the past 2 decades. Some of these jokes were done on The Tonight Show. Some of them have been done on America's Got Talent, public forums. He's now apologizing, saying that at the time he felt like it was fine and it was harmless. Should he have to apologize for jokes that were made 20 years ago?
I think, it's just very responsible, for a person at his level to show awareness that, yeah, it was an ignorant time that we all lived in. I lived in it and it sucked. And, and it sucked for someone like my mom who was an immigrant that came to this country and had to deal with that type of racism and feel like she wasn't really, even though she was American, she felt like she was a visitor, and for that alone, yeah, an apology should be made. And like, I commend Jay for doing that. You know what I mean? It's very big of him to do that, and it should be done. And I love the fact that we have, the platforms that we have now, like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and where we're not just relying on media, TV coverage to cover things like what's happened like in the past couple of weeks with Asians and the AAPI community. You know what I mean? Now we have a voice and it's strong. And when ugly, nasty things happen, like the way it did, the horrific, evil thing that happened just last week, we got a community now. Like, if I could say anything good that's happened out of this is the one good thing, that there's a community of people that are band together to put a stop to this and put a lot of awareness out there. And so, yeah, I commend them for doing that. And I hope others follow suit.
I agree.
Yeah, I do too. The only thing, so Eddie Murphy addressed his comedy in the 80s, which is unacceptable in today's world, right? He said Eddie Murphy Delirious is not acceptable today, but to hold him accountable for jokes that people laughed at in the 80s and didn't have a problem with, what about that? Like, where's comedy going? Is the stage safe for you guys?
Are people still holding him accountable since he's offered this apology, though? Isn't that the whole point?
Well, we hope. We hope that there is some forgiveness, because our world has evolved a lot, right? Yeah. We have to learn what was acceptable in the 1950s was not acceptable in today's standards. But
it is hard. Yeah. It's, I'm sorry to jump in on you, Ryan, but it is hard. It is a different time. Like I said, man, like when my mom came to this country, she was literally just, she felt like an outsider, even though she was American just like everybody else. And those times you had to live like with the norm. It was scary to use your voice back then. You know what I mean? And now we live in a time where it's like, hey, people aren't taking that anymore. And like I said, with these platforms, our voices are going to get heard. You know what I mean? And now you know that there's a community that's going to support you. When back in the day, my mom felt like she was by herself, and I can understand the fear. And you know what I mean? And I get it. And so, yeah, I love the fact that my son and this generation that he lives in, we can move forward. You know what I mean? And the people that lived in the past, if you don't want to learn, especially with all the applications that you could use to learn, like Google, if you could just Google something and learn it on your own, if you don't want to do that, then you know what, you're stupid and you need to stay there and you're never going to move forward.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sorry.
But what about,
I don't mean
Chappelle?
to be mean by saying that, but that's true.
Right.
You choose to be stupid.
Yeah.
But we're all allowed to be ignorant. You're allowed to not know. It's up to you if you want to learn.
Absolutely. Well said. What about Dave Chappelle and some of his latest stand-ups? He's taken a lot of heat for making race jokes. And are race jokes off limits for even comedians now?
I don't think race jokes. I think if you are... Look, we all have our voice, and I love the freedom that we get to say what we want to say. That I love that. And if you're smart and you get your point across and you're still funny, that's the beauty of stand-up comedy. David, to me, is the light, man. He's my light, and he's so smart, and I love what he says, and he's. He's getting criticized, but I also love the fact that the guy is also educating, and he's the voice that a lot of us need, and he says it right. He says it right, man, and he does it right. It doesn't take much for you to really know when someone is being hateful or
Right.
being funny. It's not hard to tell the difference. And unfortunately, cancel culture has made it real easy to act like you can't tell the difference.
Right.
And that's another form of that ignorance that I don't like, you know?
Yep. There has to be some education, some forgiveness, some mercy, and all of this.
All that.
And I do. I
Still.
commend Jay for doing what he did.
And Dave Chappelle is married to an Asian woman.
Yes, he is.
He's married to he's Filipino,
But he
homie.
made a lot of jokes about LGBTQ, and he took a lot of heat for it. And he was saying, "Hey, these are jokes," you know. And then people where's the line? Where do we? And we're in a sensitive time. We're in a place that we're still sort of navigating what's next. And a lot of comedians are saying this is the worst time ever to be a comedian.
Right. It is.
I think it's the best time. I really do.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we're talking to a different generation. It's time to move forward.
Yeah.
You know, and look, I did a joke on my first special live from Seattle, and it came from a real place, man. You know what I mean? Like this, if you want to hear like indirect racism, like I love my stepdad to death. I love him. Country folk, you know, he's from West Virginia, marries my mom, and one of the jokes I said was, you know why I married your mama? I'm like, why? Because I love Chinese food. Like, she's Filipino, Fred. Like, but that's the joke, and that's the light, and that's something that was said, and it was a joke, and it was okay, and it was normal, and it's just like we got to find a way to still have fun and discuss issues and get rid of the ignorance. You know what I'm saying? We all have that responsibility. I know I keep hitting ignorant over the head because I don't think everyone. I don't think everyone's a racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are just not knowing and need to be educated.
Right.
And now's the time to do it.